Hello, everybody. My name is Anabell, and today we're meeting with Antonio because there is Fest going on, and his show, Django in Pain, participates in the festival. And I would ask you, Antonio, to tell us about you a little bit more and about the show, production, company, everything good.
Okay, my name is Antonio Vega. I'm from Mexico, and I'm part of the company Por Piedad Teatro, which is a company from Mexico that we are currently based in New York. So we go back and forth. And this project started to be like a reality during the pandemic. It had been a long time since I wanted to do like a show about depression, about the struggles of depression, but I wanted to be like a uplifting show. So, and during the pandemic, we had the opportunity to develop it, and that's how it started.
Interesting. This show is a puppet show, right? It's a puppet theater. Can you tell a little bit more? How did you come to create a puppet theater? How was it creating the show? And yeah, because pandemic brought a lot of visual possibilities, digital possibilities, right? So you decided to use them. Is it correct?
Yeah. When we were at the beginning of the pandemic, we are theater artists. So one of the first things that we realized is that we are not really, or apparently we are not essential workers. So we couldn't do our jobs. So we were contacted by this amazing company in New York called Playco, and invited us to be part of a project to keep creating during these uncertain times. And so we developed the whole thing while we were in isolation inside our bedroom. So we tried to do everything with things that we already had inside our apartment. We recycle stuff. We use, for instance, we use the microwave turntable that is inside the microwave to create a stage, a tiny stage. We made everything that happened. Django in Pain is a puppet show, but it's a video. So it's made specifically to be seen on a screen. So it was, we want to eventually make it happen in a theater as a live event. But right now it's made specifically for you to see it on a screen. So thinking of that, we wanted everything to happen on a drawing desk, and we explore all the possibilities of the drawing desk, and we use different techniques. We use like shadow puppetry, we use tabletop puppetry, we use miniatures, toys. I made like 200 tiny trees to make a forest, and constructed a tiny village using cardboard and materials that I had laying around. And I made one of the puppets out of a plush toy that I found one day long ago on the street. And so it was a very interesting, very long process, but I think the result was very satisfactory.
Sounds really interesting, and also reminds of how we made the show also in March this year, when we were like in the space, we couldn't leave, and we took every possibility of it to try and to create. I guess it's also like it brings a lot of creativity, develops it, and makes it all, like, you know, interesting from different sides. And what about the story? What is the story about?
Okay, so the story started long ago, like with my own struggles and my interest in depression and how common it is, but how we talk about it. So I wanted to talk about it in a way that I was uplifting, that it has some hope at the end, and I've always been interested in humor as a healing mechanism, and also just a thing that makes life worth living. Laughter, to be able to laugh about ourselves, and I wanted to use this image of the tiny dog that is missing a leg as an example of resilience, and how a tiny, delicate creature that apparently is very frail can be the strength somebody else needs. So I wanted to, this is a story about a man, a playwright that wants to write a happy play, but he can't because the main character in the play is very depressed. So depressed that he wants to hang himself. So he tries to do it, but then he gets interrupted by a dog that pees on his pants. So he doesn't want to die with pee all over him. And so he goes to his house to wash his clothes. And this chance encounter between the dog and this man creates an opportunity for this man to find new hope, new lust for life, and to want to live again, to take care of somebody, and also to take care of himself and look for help. And it's also at the same time, it's like a Western, there's this amazing music that we were working here in New York, and the composer was working in Mexico. So we go back and forth via Zoom or whatever. He would send us music and we would listen to the music. And so he composed a very beautiful soundtrack, a lot of music pieces for the show. So it's also like a Western, and this has his style, and it's also like the characters are this man, this dog, and there's also a wolf that is like the image of the dangers that we have inside ourselves, and there's also like a vulture, and it's all a bunch of very obvious metaphors about depression, and at the same time it's a straightforward story about redemption and resilience and hope and friendship.
Sounds really very atmospheric. And what is your part in the story? You're a writer, but also a performer, or just a creator of the story?
Okay, so I am the playwright. I'm also an actor, and I also built all the puppets except for one that we had already. I made all the puppets, I created all the sets, I created all the shadow puppetry, the scenery and everything. And my partner, Anna, she is also a performer in the show, but she also made the cinematography. So she was a photographer and she was the editor. So she was in charge of all the technical stuff. We created it with our phones, but fortunately our phones have very good cameras, like really good. So it was I'm still amazed of how, if I'm allowed to say, how beautiful it ended up being when it was just a crazy thing that we made inside of our bedroom, and how we were able to combine so many techniques of doing miniature theater and yeah. So it was basically a team of 3 people. It was Ana, my partner, Cristóbal, who is a composer working from Mexico, and myself. So that was it. So we had to do everything ourselves.
Wow, just wow. And if you tell what is your favorite part of the process, what was your I don't know, what did you prefer most, making this puppets, or creating the text, or already performing it? Like, what do you enjoy more?
Okay, my favorite thing was when I have an idea and I make it, and when I finally see it working, that's my favorite thing. For instance, I had this idea of having this small Rotary village, and I wanted this scene to be like a musical, like out of a musical. So I wanted to be a song. So from the moment that I imagined that to the moment when I finally saw it with music for the first time, that was like the most amazing thing. Like see the tiny village with tiny lights that I made work somehow, because I'm not an electrician, but I'm just saw some videos. I have to make it work, and then the music. And when I finally saw it, and that's amazing. So when you have an idea, or what if I make this whale? If I make it blow water out of the blowhole, and when I see it working, and when I see it on the screen, and when I see the reaction from the audience, so are my favorite things. When I see the things that work and that people are touched, because when you are doing this, like we see it again and again, and we make multiple takes, because it's not always the best one, the first one. So at some point you become numb. You play too well, so you forget that it can be touching, because you are also almost like so accustomed to it, you are numb to it. But when you see it together with somebody else that hasn't seen it ever, and it's like if you see it again for the first time, so you see that people is really touched about it, and so we remember, oh yeah, that's supposed to be touching, and that's oh yeah, I didn't remember this was really sad. Like people is actually crying because of this scene between a wolf and a dog, and you say, yeah, but it's just paper. These puppets are made of paper in this specific scene, and so to see that piece of paper with shadows and color have the ability to transmit emotions, it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how would you describe then your audience? And did you make it specifically for someone, like knowing that this audience, or it was like a broader message for all the world? And what do you expect people from seeing that?
I didn't have a specific audience in mind. It was not like I said, this is going to appeal to young people or old people. But what I realized in the end is that there's a lot of people dealing with depression. Like there's a lot of people depressed, and especially in these times with the pandemic and everything, and things that are terrible that are happening. So there's a lot of people dealing with this, and you realize, wow, this is it is really cool that this is appealing to so much people. But I didn't have a specific audience in mind, and the reactions have been very positive. We had a couple of public screenings with people, with audiences, because it has mainly been like for streaming, but we have some where we had the audiences close to us, so we had some kind of feedback, and yeah, people that you don't expect to be able to. It's not that you don't expect, but it's still surprising that people open up about their own strugglings with depression and mental illness,
Yeah, this topic is one of the most, I don't know, I guess, still like, I would not say important. I would just say it really happens almost to everyone, no? Every second person in that or this way experience that. And I would say that it's also very important, like from what you said, I would encourage people here in Kyiv to watch the show for sure, because we need uplifting and good vibes. And why puppet theater? Why not other types of performing arts?
Well, I've been doing theater for more than 20 years. And at the beginning of my career, I wasn't really interested in puppetry. But when we moved to New York, I saw some amazing shows, and I started seeing that miniature theater. And so I became like almost obsessed with the possibilities of tiny objects and inanimate objects, and to be so expressive, and to be, so you can, in one of my shows, the smallest puppet was like smaller than a penny, was really, really, really tiny. And we can tell a love story inside a penny with two tiny puppets. And just for me to see that, it was just really fascinating. And also in these conditions, to do something during the pandemic, for me, it was easier to create this world, this whole world with puppets and miniatures and everything on top of the drawing desk, and cheaper than to create, like, you know, multiple sets and costumes for actors. And so, yeah, puppets are cheaper than actors for me to work with. But I also love working with actors, of course. But sometimes you don't have the budget to do it.
Of course. Sorry, didn't hear the last phrase.
Puppets don't complain as much as we actors complain. They don't want to have rests, and they are not unionized. They don't have unions, you know.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Antonio. Maybe there is something I didn't ask, but something that you would really want to say about the show, about the production, or about participating in the festival, or something you would say to people before they come to see your show.
Well, I would like to invite everyone to see the show. I'm pretty sure it's when I say it's about depression, believe me, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna fall in love with these two characters. It's uplifting. I'm pretty sure you're gonna end up with a smile and with something positive, and also to express our solidarity to all the people in Kiev and all Ukraine, and our hearts having with you all this time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to remind people who are watching these videos that the show Django in Pain is available right now in Scene Saver platform till the end of the festival. So go and watch it. Thank you so much, Antonio.
Much, madam.